class. Yes. Now click m dot. Next line. That's so you added that annotations, right? Can you
Yes,
go
yes.
to your class?
Class.
సాటర్డే కూడా మొన్న సాటర్డే కూడా
I don't
చేశాను
see any annotation.
బ్యాంకింగ్ సెక్టర్
Annotations means it's a public static, a public string I have initializer. There I have to give the values.
No, Vinay. I mean, we discussed this on length in the last class, right? Uh,
Yeah,
like this is like a standard Pocho, right?
చెప్పలేదు
When you have to create it as a what you call bean or DTO, then you have to annotate this class with the few annotations, right? And there is a format for it. You need to make all the variables private and then annotate this class with some annotation like at data, all arguments constructor, no argument constructor, everything.
yeah, yeah.
ఏంటో
Here I have not created any constructor.
Yeah, that's what. I mean, you don't need to create constructor on your. You just need to give proper configuration to your class. That's what I would say.
Mind, can you tell me what is the mistake I have done
Annotate, add annotation for this class.
in the search bar?
No, Vinay, you have to add the annotation on this class on top of this class, right? Like we used to add the annotation,
Here,
right?
create.
No, create uh, at the rate. I mean, type
Add.
at, type at data. Vinay, I'll give you an example. This one example. Okay, you can use this one. Apart from this, anyone has any issue with the last flow? Any doubts?
Okay, at the rate data, at the rate.
Right. If you still have confusion, Vinay, we'll talk in the end. It's okay. But
Having
let's
a
check.
little, yeah, little
Okay.
confusion.
ఏమున్నది కానీ
Okay. Is anyone else who didn't understand last class, like what was the difference between the DTOs and the simple POJOs and everything? The constructor related things, anything.
బాగు అంటే ఇంజక్షన్ మీద పవర్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది
Vinay, you can stop sharing. It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
అంటే ఏంటంటే
Hello, guys. Do speak out. Anyone, any issues, no issues. I'm assuming this to be a little interactive class. Thanks, Shrikant. But it would be appreciated if you can speak this out. Okay. Thank you, guys. Uh, okay. So, anyone tried creating their own DTOs as of now? Okay, guys. Just give me a minute. Hello. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, I mean, if you understand the concept, the DTOs and everything, we talked about the POJOs. Okay. Then we talked about the access specifiers as well. So, any doubts, guys, on access specifier? Did you understand it properly? What will be the use case of access specifier? Hello. Team, at least one of you should speak out. I mean, this is not going to work in that way. I'm not your class teacher, and you are not a school student.
Yeah, no issues on access specifiers today.
Sorry.
No issues on access specifiers.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So, uh, did you try to plot some example on your own with this all of these things, like creating some video, trying out some, like why you want to do something private or protected or maybe by default, what will be the use case, or anybody knows what, if I'll not specify anything, like neither public nor private, then what will happen? Will your code stop working, or it will be a different repercussion? Yeah, Kiran.
I think the code won't get compiled.
Any other, anyone else, what you guys thought? No, that's not correct, Kiran. So basically, the thing is, every these access specifier have their own properties. Okay, so if you specify it with public, which means you are making that variable or method accessible everywhere in that entire project. Be it, I mean, any lengthy project is, even if it has like a hundred or thousands of classes, libraries, anything, thousands of line, still that variable will be accessible anywhere in that. Okay. Then the other is private. Then you are restricting your variable, your method, to the same class itself only. Nobody can access that method variable outside the class, right? Then the other one is by default. If you won't specify anything public or private, it will retain as a protected one, kind of a protected one. Okay, so the idea is, default is like, I mean, the protected is a different specifier as well, but when you keep it as like a no access specifier, it will be available within the package level only. That's all. Like within the package, whatever the classes are, they'll consider. Uh, okay, these are the family classes, you would say. Okay, so that variable, or what you say, that method, it will be accessible throughout the package only, but it will compile.
Okay, Chira.
Okay, so the other thing we were talking about was uh, interfaces and the mean classes. Okay, so you must have seen there are certain requirement when you want to create only, okay, the gateway, or the interface of your project. In the similar way, we have some classes called abstract class. Okay, so abstract classes are like where you have at least one abstract method. Okay, uh, so abstract classes are little similar to interfaces, but they serve a different purpose altogether, right? So interfaces are like purely interface only. They can't write the basic code or something. No, it's just like a method definition only. Okay, uh, and whoever wants to implement that interface, they'll just implement it and then further add the details to that. Okay, so suppose it's like if you create some interface for for example engine start. Okay, so there can be any classes. Okay, for example there is a push button car which will call that start engine through a different way, but there can be a car who used keys to start the ignition. That's also called the start engine, because eventually we are just starting the engine. It doesn't matter you are starting from push button or from a key, right? So it can be different way to people will implement that. That's the one way. The other is like abstract class, where thing is you will write some boilerplate code, and then the further whoever wants to extend that part, they'll extend that, right? So suppose you want, okay, whenever you are creating a user, make sure there is some entry should be created in some other table as well, or how to plot this, uh, like it's kind of sometime if you want to write a prerequisite kind of thing, if you are doing this thing, before doing this thing you should pass on through this level, this code or something, right? So there you will use abstract classes as well. Okay, now apart from this one, so there are few requirements when you want to uh, make some constants, right? So for example, I'll show you something. Okay, this way only it will help. So suppose, okay, I don't have constant here. Let me use this one. So like anything, like my messages or few things that I want to use at so many places, that I'll write in constant file. Okay, and then same thing will be used at multiple places. For example, I'll show you or like this one. If I have to use this pre-built model receipt or any variable at multiple places, so I used to create them a constant. Okay, and then these constant are can be used anywhere. So suppose if you are writing a application where you want to denote some symbol, right? So rupee symbol was different 10 years back, right? Then someone changed that symbol. So it will be very hard if you were using the same symbol entirely in your application, right? Maybe it has some dependency. I know there sometimes people will say you can just find all and replace all. That's an option, but no, it's not recommended. Maybe you have some dependency on the variable and all these things. So it's always recommended to create constant. So how you will create constant so that your variables or whatever constant you are creating should be accessible throughout your entire project. Okay, so the one way is make them static, right? What will happen is static variable are like accessible throughout entire project, and then the similar way we can create static what to say static method as well. So you don't have to create the object directly, you can call them. Okay, so suppose my where should I create man. Okay, let me see if it works. Java class, I would say if I create person, in my demo, here is my demo project. Okay, let it load. Just a minute, sorry. Oh, this one is grader. Nice. Yeah, tag is doing. Then I'll say Java class. Suppose student mark constructor. Okay. I'll go here. And suppose there is some method also. Let's create one more package. Services class service. Okay. We are not creating it as a proper service or something. Okay. But what we will do. Okay. If I create suppose public void uh, get details. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll simply create a student object. Student system. Okay. So now suppose I want to print the student detail. What I will do, I'll create test service equals to new test service, then service dot get student details. Roll number 0 because I haven't assigned anything to it. Okay, and name null. Uh, Suppose I'll assign something here also. Student dot set name Chirag, student dot set roll number. Okay, let's say 1. Okay, I'll do. See, details comes in. I haven't created any student class object. I created service class object and I call the method. But the thing is, for calling this method only, get student details, you have to create the object, right? Okay, before moving to this one, let's suppose there is one more thing to this student, private string school. Okay, and I want to add school detail also, student dot sorry, set school. Suppose I'll say BPS Delhi. Okay, now the thing is, suppose there are 100,000 students in my school. I don't want to add this DPS Delhi as here. Okay, so when you start writing big code as in like big projects where are hundreds of file, nobody wants to write constants like this. Okay, so there are some code quality tools called Sonar Cube or something. They will restrict your code to publish to production. Okay, so you have to write a clean code only. In that case, what you will do, you create constants, and then you will either create Java class, demo, demo constant, and then you will write public static string. Okay, and instead of writing the TPS value here, what we will do is we'll use demo constant dot school. That's all. Okay, now if I'll run this application, now roll number, name, and school is also coming. So if I'll create one more student, I don't need to write specifically here. It will simply add constant to school, right? So the thing is, the whole agenda here is these variables are accessible entirely throughout the project. So not on this class only. If I'll go to back to my this class, I'll comment out this thing only. Okay, and I'll write system println, and I'll write demo constant dot school. It will simply print my school. Stop and rerun. See, we pasted. So that's why we create static variable. Similarly, sometimes you need some static method also, like date time utility, right? or UUID utility. So suppose I'll create some package for util, okay, and I'll create some class common utils, okay. Then I'll do public static string get UUID. UUID dot random UUID dot to string return. Oh, sorry, string. So for calling this method, you don't need to create common util object like we created here, the test service, new test service, and then service dot get student detail. No, nothing you have to do. Just simply call common util dot get UUID. That's all. It will automatically create a universally unique identifier for you. See, it will be every time unique. So that's why we use static methods, static variable. But there are restriction to static variable as well. Uh, Static methods as well. So mm, uh, okay, okay. So suppose I'll create public void print UUID. Okay, string UUID. See, I'm not getting any option to call print UUID. If I'll forcefully write it here, I'm getting a warning or accept compile time error is like non-static method print UUID cannot be referenced from static constant, which means if you want to call something from static method, they should also belong to the same category static. So did you understand thing this way? So static, everyone can call static because they are static, but static cannot call everyone because they are not static. You understand the loop? So if I want to use this one, the print UUID, either I have to make it as a static or I have to like build some wrapper or something on the top. Hello.
Yeah, Chiru.
So is it clear like why we use static?
Yeah, Chirag.
And that's the whole reason. Did you ever thought why Java uh, any program, anything, be it it's a Spring Boot application, anything, they have this main class, right? And that too is also static, public static void main. That's the only reason, because If it is static, they don't need to create the object. They can directly call this method to start the entire application, right? From your kernel, from your terminal, anywhere. Okay, so yeah, that's about the static thing and the abstract thing. So uh, so tomorrow I'll be assuming you should come up with some abstract class, okay, created for your own with some basic stuff, whatever we are doing like this, the student class, anything. Try to create some abstract class, okay, and try to create some interfaces as well. Then we'll discuss what are the core differences, okay, when you want to leverage the abstract class and the interfaces. And static are pretty clear. I think static is nothing much to do. It's just to standardize the same code, which is like the repeating code. You can make it as a static one and then leverage it, but make sure like the code you are making standardized. It shouldn't be requiring any further dependent code, because otherwise you will keep on ending creating static all these things. So it will mess up, because there will be no securities and all these things. You can create static with private as well, but then what's the point of static itself? Create private only. Okay, is any other thing? Vinay, did it clear your uh, doubts, or you still have doubt with why you are not getting the getters and setters?
Yeah, I got it. Sure.
You got it right. The way I created the student class and all, I added this data,
Yeah.
all our constructor and all. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank